Tonight's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Round the House Kitchen. Round the House Kitchen was started in the summer of 2021, specializing in salsa and pit barbecue. Although they just started up last year, the salsa recipe has been in their family for over 20 years and has been passed down from generation to generation. They have 3 flavors. They have a mild, they call that everybody's business. A medium, mind your business. And a hot, none of your business. They'll also make special requests with ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper, anything like that, and they call that risky business. These names came about because they were constantly being asked for the secret family recipe long before they ever started selling it, which is what sparked the idea. Their ribs and pulled pork are cooked over an open fire of charcoal and wood. They use a basic dry rub method, and they also do chicken and beef cuts that will later be included on their menus. Visit their Facebook page, Round the House Kitchen. They will deliver to Carmi and Saline County on orders over $20, and they will ship anywhere in the country. Thank you again, Round the House Kitchen. Back in the saddle again, baby. Here with my main man, Chad Harrison, for one last ride. We had the upset of the century. UFC 269 was so fucking badass, dude. So badass. And the main reason was Juliana Pena.
Upset. Biggest upset ever.
Ever.
Yeah.
I mean, they're saying maybe Sarah
was
a bigger upset,
but
because Sarah was a flake who didn't make it, who got like a redemption tour on Ultimate Fighter, but I don't give a fuck. You know, that's a good upset, but...
Yeah, but heck, look at Juliana Pena's record and tell me this wasn't an upset.
How about Nunes's record?
Yeah.
12 straight wins.
Women's GOAT.
Were those all finishes?
2-division champion.
Every win of hers was a finish, right?
No, the Felicia Spencer one.
That's right. That's right. And she got a lot of shit for that.
Yeah, she did.
But, you know, the pound for pounds came out, and Nunes dropped to 3, and Pena's 4. Which, I don't know how you do that. She just beat her ass.
Right, but it's still not ranked above her.
She just beat her ass. And in 35, she's ranked above her because she's got the big C at the top of the list. Mm-hmm. So I didn't like that. But, you know, there was no chance that was going to happen.
No.
0. And when round 1 ended, you know, it still wasn't going to happen. I think Nunes dominated round 1.
Yeah, Nunes
controlled. 10-9.
Yeah,
nothing crazy.
It wasn't a 10-8.
No.
I mean, no question won the round.
Nunes had this bitch down and was looking up at the crowd smiling. And I was like, oh, this poor bitch is about to get waylaid.
I was just kicked back, relaxed, because I had Amanda in a parlay, and I had her by finish. I'm like, if this makes it out of the first round, I'll be surprised.
Yeah. It was shocking, dude. Halfway through the second round, they start trading in the center. Mm-hmm. Well, this is Nunes's game. So Pena's only path to victory, according to the planet Earth, was some sort of ground attack. So they're duking in the center of the cage, and I mean, dude, we were all going, oh my God, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just because it was so exciting, but no one really thought it. Mm-hmm. When it fucking happened, bro, dude, I went apeshit. I was shocked. She got her against the cage, wrapped her around the hips, threw her down like it was nobody's business. And then, dude, it was like a schoolyard choke, and Nunes tapped quick. Now, kind of like Blachowicz to Shara, getting a lot of shit for tapping quick. That big, bad bitch was so gassed, she couldn't breathe before they hit the ground. I mean, she was getting choked. Mm-hmm. It was, how about this? Pena gets on the mic. Rogan says, Juliana Pena, you just shook up the world. How do you feel? And what'd she say?
I'm not surprised.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah.
She quoted Diaz, and it was huge, and it's like a giant meme right now. Mm-hmm. The bitch, she did everything right, dude. In the presser the day before, you and I were like, she's kind of trying too hard to goad Nunes. I don't know. Maybe she's not believing in herself. She said that bitch has been dodging me since UFC 200, and she looks like she wasn't lying, bro.
Right.
That was fucking... I mean, it was the biggest upset in the history of the UFC. It was the biggest news on the planet Sunday morning. I mean, even if you don't watch it, it was in a headline. You may have not known what it meant, but it was everywhere, dude. Everywhere. And it wasn't even the fucking main event. Normally, when Nunes gets a main, we all kind of are bummed and people talk shit.
Mm-hmm.
This would have been epic if she was the main event.
Yes.
Because it was a special moment. I mean, my brother-in-law called me and said, so first off, this guy was partying in St. Louis, and in Missouri, you can't gamble. So he texted me a picture of a parlay, and it said, typed in, it said 30 pays 300. And it wasn't submitted, but I thought he was like asking for my approval. So I said, looks dope, man. 3 hours later, he's like, dude, did you put that bet in for me? I think I'm going to hit. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, you didn't get that in? So I start scrolling up my phone, and I realize he's asked me to make the bet. I didn't make the bet. By the end of the night, he would have hit that bet. But so we had this kind of, oh, man, I'm sorry, brother. So he calls me. He says, hey, put 55 on Juliana Pena. And I was like, are you sure, dude? It paid like $500. He's like, yeah. And I was like, Nick, that's $55. You're lighting it on fire, man. Most likely. He's like, oh, we're all throwing in $5 at a party. Fuck it. Go for it. When he hit, I was sick, bro. Because when I went to type it in for him, I almost doubled it. And I was like, I'm going to do it too and not tell anybody. Because I had some winnings in there. But even though Nick was paying me his 55, it felt like I was blowing $100, you know? Mm-hmm. So I didn't do it. I was devastated, bro. What a fucking jackpot. Biggest upset. Someone had 33K on Nunes by finish. It popped up on the broadcast.
Someone had over 300,000 money line.
That's what it was. 300,000 money line.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
probably
gone.
the same fuck from last time that put $1 million on it. Yeah. This dude put $1 million on Nunes, and it paid 100K.
Yeah, 167, I think.
How could you do that? This is the fight game, bro. This is why we love this shit, dude. We always talk about it. This is why we love this shit. Because anything can fucking happen.
Anything can happen.
And it did.
And it will eventually.
And it will. Mm-hmm. Like, we talked about it all week. Maybe on air, off air for sure. I said, hey.
It'll happen.
One of these times, Nunes, Valentina, Usman, they are going to go out there and they're going to lose. Time is undefeated, baby. But I didn't have the balls to make the pick.
Well, no, I definitely didn't have the balls nor the extra money.
Yeah,
like you said, in my mind,
lighting it on fire.
You're just going over the trash can and throwing a 20 in there.
Yeah. Last week, we were begging for her to shake the world up, and she fucking did it, man. And it was really awesome.
Great.
And it's the lead of our show. It's the lead of any show, I'm sure. I mean, it.
And it'll be a massive rematch.
Huge. Dude. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Be the biggest thing in women's bantamweight since Ronda Rousey.
Yep. And that's all I was basing that off of was, Ronda was the queen until she wasn't. It's going to be the same for Amanda. Now, it's different with Amanda because she's got 2 belts. This happened in Bellator a few months ago where Bader was a light heavy and heavyweight champ, and he got dominated by, like, Vadim Nemkov. Mm-hmm. And I remember asking you at work or something, hanging out, saying, how does it feel that dude just whooped your ass? You're both at the same weight where he's probably thinking, how come I don't get both those motherfucking belts? Do you still feel like the champ, Mm-hmm. And now Nunes is going through it. She's still the 145 champ, but there's an asterisk next to 145 because no one fights there. The Kayla Harrison fight was going to be the biggest ladies fight on the planet. Is that gone? Is it as big with Pena? Now, they're going to rematch immediately. I mean,
for sure.
Does Nunes get it back, and then is the Harrison fight huge? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No.
The
only way, it'll take a little time. If Nunes goes out there and just completely starches her, be like, told you it was a fluke.
Yes.
And then send me another one. Send me Jermaine de Randamie or someone. Just starches her and said, I told you it was a fluke.
Yep. And
never missed a step.
That's what she needs.
Yes.
She needs to one-shot that bitch and say, told you so.
Yeah, because look, that's basically what George did, St. Pierre.
Right.
He went out there and proved with the Matt Serra, told you this was a fluke. And he went out there and proved it, went out there and starched him, and then kept winning. And see, told you guys it was a fluke.
Right.
But if she doesn't, then...
Right. And he kept going until he got to those couple tight fights. And he had that very questionable win to end his career. And a month later, he retired. He did it right. He got to where he couldn't starch, and he said, all right.
I'm out.
Nunes is nowhere near that because we've had a week almost to hear how she's feeling. You know, Dustin Poirier has been talking retirement for 5 days, you know, teetering with it. I don't like that. We'll get to that. But Nunes wants the shot. She wants to starch the bitch, and she wants to be back on top. Now, Pena's calling for rematches of everyone that's ever beat her. She's like, I want Durand to me. I want go down and fight Valentina for her belt. Like, this bitch is wanting to do it big. And if she can follow up and continue to fight at this level, because whether you want to call it a fluke or not, it was a fucking high-level fucking fight. And, dude, she won the striking battle. She won the small bits of grappling and then choked the bitch out in the second round. We're talking about a lady whose worst performance in the last 6.5 years was whooping Felicia Spencer for 5 rounds and winning a decision. I mean, when that's your taint, like that's your bad
a
fight.
50-44 decision.
Got a 10-8 in there. Yeah. That's crazy to me, dude. And Pena made it look easy. Like, she baited her. She let her control her a little bit in the first. I mean, she was wearing her down. So, you know, I'd like to see Pena do some badass shit, but obviously the Nunes fight's first. If she beats her again, it'll be insane. Nunes was like a minus 900 favorite.
900.
And now for the rematch, she's already at minus 330. That's a big drop. That's some respect for Juliana, but how can they not be a 50-50 coin toss
right
after that just happened, dude?
Yeah, how many people are now going to take Juliana?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's the catch. Who's going to take that plus 400 Juliana Pena and put some big money on it, and then Nunes goes and binks her, you know?
Right.
Who knows? Who knows? I bet it happens a lot sooner than we expect, though.
I hope so. I'm hoping for first half of next year for sure.
See, when you got 2 belts like Nunes did and you're fighting twice a year, that's wrong. You've got 2 belts. You should do at least 2 fights in one of the divisions and 1 fight in the other.
Yes, because that is part. I mean, you know this. When you take on another belt.
Yes.
I mean, you're the king of 2 divisions.
Yes.
Or queen. But
Right.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
you know,
that's you just got to take on the extra responsibility.
The biggest hang up on Conor, who was the very first double champion, was that he never defended. And that's a giant taint mark on his record 7 years later. Like, well, he never defended him. So he fluked Aldo. Then he whooped Eddie, which is, you know.
He beat Eddie before they ever got in the cage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fucked his brains out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was his game.
It was. I mean, he executed it perfectly. But that was one of those fights. I remember watching it with my dad. Eddie was beat before he ever walked in there. I mean, Conor had already won.
A lot of people say that's the best single performance they've ever seen in the octagon is Conor's.
Because a lot of people were picking Eddie because of Eddie's wrestling background and obviously a gaping hole in Conor's.
Right.
Chad Mendez showed that, but now you're having a bigger version of Chad Mendez.
Right.
Like, well, this guy might be able to hold him down.
Chad showed that.
Yeah,
but
he
how
did.
much did Conor improve by the time he fought Khabib to even last like he did? You know what I mean? I mean, he worked on it.
Well, yeah, of course they do.
But yeah, there was a lot of people calling for it's fixed when Eddie didn't do any wrestling, you know? Like, maybe he just didn't have the opportunity. You can't say it's the single greatest performance I've ever seen in the cage and say, well, something's fishy going on. Eddie didn't wrestle. Well, he didn't let him.
He was beat.
He was beat.
I mean, that's just how I look at it.
Yeah, he was a beaten dog before they even walked in. Yeah, I agree.
He was beat mentally, and that was that. Because, I mean, there was nothing about him that was on. Eddie's a really durable fucking guy, actually. He bites down on his mouthpiece and can really get after it.
Dude, and he's got killer striking.
Yeah.
He's not a wrestler. He's a well-rounded motherfucker.
Well, I mean, he comes from a wrestling background.
I know. But I've seen him knock dudes out in highlights of Eddie Alvarez. Like, he's a savage. It's just all the more reason to worship Conor's nuts.
That'll never happen on my part.
I know. He's calling for the Oliveira fight. But let's get to the Oliveira fight first. So that shook up the room, shook up the world. Everyone was on cloud fucking 9. And then the main event. The main event's Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. For some reason, the challenger, Dustin, who I love, we all love, was the favorite. Now, a lot of people disagreed. but it was probably like a 50-50 split, like you said, among fans and the media.
Yeah.
You know, and the odds were a bit of a split. It was like plus 150. And
Yeah,
minus,
it wasn't no massive.
Yeah, it was nothing crazy.
No.
But, you know, the fight starts and, you know, Dustin drops Charles or Charles slips. Charles went down like 10 seconds in and everybody was like, oh, you know, this is it. Because, you know, Charles is always getting shit for quitting. You know, he tapped to strikes against Paul Felder, and that was his last loss. That was 13 fights ago, I think. I think now that he beat Dustin, he's on a 13-fight win streak, but I may be wrong on there. But the dude persevered, survived round 1, and Dustin was ahead. Round 2 was so weird and something you never want to see in a main event. I mean, Charles took Dustin down, and Dustin held him there with a body lock for the whole round. It was boring. It was disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he said after the fight, listen, I didn't want to let him get on my back and choke me out, so I was just like, I'll just lose the round.
You know, in all seriousness, not to keep jumping back to Conor, but I watched a big interview on Conor after his fight with Khabib, and that was their game plan. When he gets you down, just accept it. Ride out the round. Every round starts on their feet. That's where we have the advantage.
I wonder if that's where Dustin and his team got that.
I wondered that too.
Because
that was Conor's plan. When he gets you down, it was more or less survive.
Right.
You know, don't do anything stupid to where, yeah, this crafty motherfucker is going to get you.
Right.
Survive. Every round starts standing up.
That's right. That's right. But I didn't see the scorecards because we didn't make it that far, but I doubt that was a 10-8.
I don't think so.
So I'd say it was 1-1 after 2, and Dustin was like, okay, I'll call that a victory. But I think it backfired because Charles immediately in round 3 climbs up on his back and chokes him out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your fear of grappling gave him the confidence to say, I'm just going to jump on his back. I don't know, but Charles choked him out. It was, you know, what we all expected. I mean, you know, I was rooting for Dustin. I was scared for him. I said it for 2 months. Like, if he gets here and chokes, I will not be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said if he's crying in the cage afterward, no one's going to be shocked.
Right.
And that's what it was, you know. That's what it was. And it was bummer. And he's been, you know, it's been 5 days, and he's been talking a lot about, you know, he doesn't know what's next, and, you know, maybe this is it, and just teetering with, like, retirement tweets. And I don't like that shit, man. You know, you're 32, I'm 34, we're grown, bro. If you're done, say it. But why don't you take some time to fucking think about it? It's been a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think what's next for Dustin is obviously the move to 170.
Yeah.
It's hard for him to make weight. He never misses, but it's hard for him to make weight. The fact that the dude was a 45er is mind-blowing. He's a big dude, but Charles was bigger.
Charles was bigger, and he was a 45er.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
But Charles also missed weight at 45.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect him to tower over Dustin like
I didn't
that.
either.
That kind of shocked me. You'd think I'd know that. I kept, for 3 months, said, oh, he's going to walk him down, he's bigger, and fuck, man, when they faced off, I went, oops, you know, like, Charles is a tough dude. So I want Dustin to move to 170, you know, take the big fights. Maybe you're not a champion, man, but we love you. You're an interim champ. No one can ever take that away. Fight Nate.
Fight Colby.
Fight
any of
Colby.
them, yeah.
Fight Nick. Fight.
Huge fights.
You win a couple in a row, and maybe you're fighting for the 170 belt, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But to act like you're giving up when you know, a week ago you were talking about all the future has to hold, it's crazy, man. It's a loss. It's a loss to a guy whose specialty is your weakness.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't drop him, it was what was going to happen. Now, I could have seen Dustin winning a decision, but, you know, like the flow of the fight showed, that wasn't going to happen. He was probably going to give more rounds than he got.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the grappling was just too much. But I still think Dustin can be a king, man. He's
for sure.
richer than ever, more popular than ever. Got multiple businesses where he's not depending on fighting for a living. That's got to take stress off of you and make you a better fighter. Do the big fights. Like we would all, Diaz, Poirier in March, we'd all be jumping up and down.
Oh, yeah.
Poirier, Colby, we're going ape shit.
That would be crazy. That's the one I'd want to see.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'd rather see that.
God, I would be rooting for Colby, man. I hate to say it.
I agreed. Agree. I got to
say
root
it.
for Colby.
I know, he's the man, bro. So for Charles, you know, Conor's always already calling for the belt. And you know what's fucked up is if they really cave and let Conor fight Charles, he could really knock him out. And that's scary. Because if there's anyone in that division active that doesn't deserve it, it's that dude. He's like 1-3 in his last 4 fights, which spans a 3-year period or 4-year period. But,
I mean, the Eddie Alvarez fight was the only fight he's ever won at 155 in the UFC.
Right. And Charles came out and said it today, like, hey, man, I'm not stupid. You know, if that's an option, I'm fighting him. That's the big money fight. The rest of the guys in the division that have earned it are just going to have to wait a little bit longer, saying that I'll be active and I won't make anybody wait a year, but I'm fighting him if that's an option. I don't like that. It's Gaethje versus Charles. And I don't think I'm picking Gaethje anymore.
No, I'm not. Not after seeing how poor his submission defense was against Khabib.
That's my point too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
He looked so bad in that fight.
yeah, he had nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, I understand we're all talking about Khabib, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, it was like that.
Yep. He looked bad. He looked weird the whole first round. He was like running backwards the whole time, and he just when Khabib went to take him down, he was down.
Yeah.
When he went to finish him, he was finished. That ain't gonna work against Charles, Islam, Dariush, any of this top 5. So I think Charles has to beat Gaethje, and then I think Charles will have to beat Islam Makhachev.
Yeah.
And then I think he could get that money fight with Conor. If he gets through both of those guys, he's fighting Conor. Now, if Makhachev takes that fucking belt, him and Conor's a big fight too. I mean, Conor and any of these guys are a big fight. That's what's sickening. I know you don't like him, but I wish he'd get his shit together and win a few fights because the sport is better when that motherfucker is winning. He beat Cerrone, which was nothing, and the UFC world went ape shit for 3 months, you know? You beat one of these big name dudes and a title eliminator. Just come back, you know, Dustin or Gaethje, all the big fights Conor could be a part of, you know? It's exciting. But goddamn, the dude looks like fucking Kimbo Slice right now. I don't see him making 155 anyways, but I just don't like them talking about him fighting for the belt when you know, there's a who's who of guys at 155 waiting, patient, who have earned a shot. I could even give you a guy like unranked that deserves it more than the way Iaquinta got to fight one time because of fill-ins. I would even go that far down before I would just say Conor.
Yeah, I mean, like people like Rafael Fiziev.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like that.
That would be actual good competition. You've got low-ranked and unranked fighters who would be a tough fight for the champ.
Yeah.
That's a good sign,
That's how stacked this division is.
And I love it. But, you know, it was sad to see Dustin lose. It's even sadder to hear him teetering with maybe giving it up. I don't like that. I think he'll be back. And I think Charles is going to go on a run here, dude. I'm a believer now. I thought he had a weak chin. I thought he could be finished, but he's shown.
Yeah, I didn't take everybody saying, he tapped his strikes. I really didn't take that too much to heart because Joanna Jędrzejczyk tapped his strikes.
Yeah.
Against Thug in her first fight. So
Joanna champion.
I didn't take that too seriously.
That's fair. All right. The rest of the main card, it was awesome. I'd say the weakest fight was a great fight. Jeff Neal versus Ponzinibbio.
The only fight on the main card to go the distance.
Yep, the only fight. And Jeff Neal won, which I don't think was controversial at all.
No. The scorecards were controversial. I hate it when this happens. It was a split decision. One judge had it 29-28 for Ponzinibbio. Another judge had it 29-28 for Neal. And then one judge had it 30-27 for Neal. How in the world does one judge have it 30-27 for you, 29-28 for me?
I'm with you.
What?
Yeah, it was a split, but like you know, not controversial.
No.
I think Jeff.
No, I had it 29-28, Jeff Neal.
Yeah, I did too. I hate to breeze past those guys, but I mean, it was a star-studded affair. The fight before that was Cody Garbrandt's flyweight debut, which we all wondered about. We talked about it for weeks, and he fought Kai Kara France, who we know is a badass kickboxer, trains with Izzy and Volk and all those killers. But I don't think, I didn't really consider it an option. So as a friend in private, I talked about worrying for Cody. But when it was fight time, I thought, oh, fuck, he's Cody Garbrandt.
Mm-hmm.
And he got knocked out in the first round by a 125-pound guy. And
yeah, and their size difference in there was very noticeable. I had Kai Kara France in a parlay because I did think he'd win. But when they got into the cage and the referee brought him up and was talking, I'm like, man, Cody No Love looks like he weighed in at 35 already.
Yeah.
he looks huge.
He did.
Like, I may have fucked up here.
Yeah. And that was when I felt most confident.
Yeah.
Right there.
It was at that point where I was like, well, I had a good run on my parlay, and this is probably it.
And the fight went 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And for two of them, it was like a good, decent fight. But I don't think Cody ever had him in trouble.
Mm-mm.
And, he got dropped like 7 times before it was finally over. I mean, it was over like 35, 40 seconds before it was over. And it was sad to see, man, because, Cody was 10-0. He became a 25-year-old
champion of the world.
He beat Dominic Cruz like it was fucking easy. Danced in the cage during the fight. I mean, crazy shit. Shit that you thought, this is going to be the new bantamweight GOAT. And since then, he's 2-5 since he won the belt. Or did he win the belt in his 11th fight? He's 1-5 in his last 6. And the one was a highlight reel knockout of
Rafael Assunção.
But here's what's pitiful about that. He got that crazy knockout where he reached down to his feet, threw it. 2 fights in a row after that, I saw him try that move over and over.
Yes.
Like, buddy, that was a cool fluke.
Yeah, when he was in the Rob Font fight,
kept throwing
he tried it so many times.
It was sad.
Yeah.
It was sad. So, I think Cody should probably call it quits. I hate to say that. He's only like fucking 29, 30 years old, but, dude, your chin seems to be gone, and you're taking unnecessary damage. You're putting your body through fucking hell now to make flyweight. And I know he's saying how great the cut was and how easy the cut was. That's good. But you're still borderline starving yourself on a diet to stay in shape just to go out there and get fucking head trauma, And it worries me. And he'd be great on the desk, like the pre-fight shows or post-fight shows. Like if Michael Chiesa and Dean Thomas can sit in there, dude.
Right.
I'd love to see Cody in there. But Kai Kara France, bro. Cody was saying title shot or bust. Does Kai get that same treatment?
Well, I mean, it would be fair, yes, but no, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think he fights Pantoja for a number 1 contender fight.
That would be a badass fight.
Yeah, I think he fights Pantoja for number 1 contender.
But I would think of Kai as probably not going to win. I was shocked he won this. Not because he's not good, but I thought he's been kind of up and down.
He has been, yeah.
He's been a bit up and down. I don't know when it gets to the top of the flyweights if he's going to, fuck everybody up. I know he's not going to knock everybody out. That was Cody's chin more so than
I agree, yes.
Kai Kara France's
yeah,
power.
Like we were talking about right before the show, the chin was gone. The cut to flyweight didn't kill the chin. The chin was already gone. We were coming to flyweight to hopefully prevent the knockouts.
Right. Well, we had backed ourselves into a 35 corner where there was no more title aspirations. This was a desperation move for gold. I said it for 2 weeks. Now, desperation move for gold doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it was, man. I mean, when a guy that walks around 20 pounds lighter than you fucking drops you 6 times in a minute, that means you're compromised. God, I hate to say that. And it all started with Dillashaw fucking steroided out of his mind, EPO.
Knocked him out twice, back to back.
Yep. And what sucks is Cody almost had that first one. He dropped him. The round ended. Round 2. He's coming out guns blazing. Like, that's his biggest flaw. So now your biggest weakness is your chin because it seems to be gone. But your biggest flaw is the fucking throwing technique out the window to go to fucking war. I mean, guys bait him into it. Who was Pedro Munoz?
Pedro Munoz, yeah.
Baited him. And boy, it worked. And that's fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, because Pedro was losing the fight.
Yes.
He was getting pieced up, and he knew it. So he bit down on the mouthpiece and started making it dirty, lured Cody into a firefight.
And they tagged each other up.
Oh, yeah.
But it worked. He dropped Cody like a fucking ton of dicks. But, you know, like I said, I don't see Kai Kara fighting for the belt. You don't either. Number one contender fight would be good. Pantoja's the likely choice.
Yeah, I like that.
Pantoja's waiting on a shot. He's only been thrown to the back burner because of the Figueiredo-Moreno trilogy. So now the results of that fight could change all of this. Figueiredo wins.
If Figueiredo wins, then they're 1-1-1.
And they're probably giving it another run back.
So who knows, yeah.
God, I would love Moreno to put this motherfucker down. I love Figueiredo. God of War, bad motherfucker. Move to 35.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Don't kill yourself cutting weight. You'll be so much more fucking powerful. And if Cody can flip divisions like that easily, I believe Davison can too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because he's already a 35er that just kills himself to get to 25.
Absolutely. He could probably fight at 45 and not be too small. Not be the smallest guy. Right. Because he's ripped, dude. He's buff. Mm-hmm. Okay. The main card opener was Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Raulian Paiva. This was probably the first like legitimate tough fight for Sugar Sean. Now, no knocks to like the Eddie Winelands of the world, but I saw a cool little graphic that had a stat about each of Sugar Sean's UFC opponents. And the only one that wasn't super old or super young in the tooth or on a 5-fight lose streak was Cheeto. And Cheeto's the guy that beat his ass. So Sugar Sean knocked him out in the first round. He did exactly what he wanted to do. He did the stupid basketball dance in the cage. I mean, everyone's hyping him up. He's calling for Fighter of the Year because he went 3-0 with 3 knockouts. Paiva's good. But they've ranked Sean at 13 for beating an unranked flyweight that moved up. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that?
It really don't bother me, I guess. It's time for Sugar Sean to be ranked. Fight ranked opponents. Shit or get off the pot.
Shit or get off the pot. That's what I was thinking.
I mean, it really don't bother me. Paiva was ranked 15 for a very short period of time because he beat the 14th ranked guy.
Right.
They really don't bother me. It's time.
It's time.
Quit fighting cans.
Yes.
And
it's time to shit or get off the fucking pot. Now, the last time Sugar Sean was ranked, he was ranked 15th, and he fought unranked Cheeto Vera and got finished in first round. We all know the story, the ankle, the knee, whatever you want to call it, and that sucks. But for 2 minutes before he went down, he was hobbling around throwing everything he had. Now, if he would have knocked Cheeto out, he'd been saying, blah, 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 blah. So take it like a man. Mm-hmm. I like his whole 13-0 unranked champ spiel. It's good for his merch, his fan base, whatever. But they have turned me against Sean O'Malley. I know he's probably watching. I say it every week. It gets old watching Dana White baby this guy. How come everyone else gets fed to the fucking dogs?
No shit.
And whenever they come out clean on top, they get big fights. Mm-hmm. We're babying this motherfucker so much that the people that you're trying to baby him for, me, you, everyone we know that watches, are starting to hate this motherfucker.
We're babying him, but yet we're putting him on pay-per-views.
Yes. And
we're knocking guys to like Dominic Cruz on the fucking prelims.
Mind-blowing, dude. Mm-hmm. Mind-blowing. Now, he's a draw. I get it. But he's going to quit. He's going to be less and less of a draw the more you fight fucking nobodies. Mm-hmm. So, Sugar Sean, what's next? I think, I don't know that Cheeto Vera will ever be a champion. I would love that, but I don't know. I think he'll fight, maybe, get a big win and lose to the champ. I think O'Malley, Cheeto 2 is never bigger than it is right now.
I agree. They're both coming off knockout wins.
Huge wins.
Yep. That's what I want for it.
But look,
I was thinking that earlier.
Look who Cheeto's fought, and look at who Sean's fought.
Exactly.
I think Cheeto does it again. I think Cheeto would fuck his world up. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's overconfident. Maybe he doesn't block, and Sugar Sean gets. But I don't think he's as powerful as everyone says.
But if Sugar Sean can't beat Cheeto, how's he going to beat Aldo, TJ, Pewter Yan?
Yep. Hearing him call out Yan the last couple weeks is a joke.
Yeah.
Yan would eat his lunch. Now, I think the same about Cheeto. I think Cheeto's a badass, and I think Sean's a badass, but there's levels.
Yes.
Yan, maybe Aljamain, because other than that one fight, he's a killer. Sandhagen, Dillashaw, these are like the fucking cream of the crop. If Sean O'Malley if that's the top 4 I just listed and O'Malley's 5, Is there anyone in there he beats?
No.
No. If Cheeto's 5, I could see him winning a couple of those fights. He's a scrappy dude, but probably not. Don't let these guys lose title eliminators or anything like that before you put them back together. It's been a year and a half almost. We all want it. We wanted to see Cheeto beat him. His fans wanted to see him beat Cheeto. And if that happens, Dana, you got yourself a trilogy whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like Diaz-Conner. Hey, it's whenever we want. It's in our back pocket. You could do that. But, dude, if he fights another unranked or the 15th guy, I'm over it. I'm done calling him out on the show. I'm done rooting for him at all. He's got cool hair, cool style, and he's on Twitch. I like games. Cool. But as far as in the cage, dude, he don't impress me much.
Rob Font would be a cool fight, too.
That would be a cool fight.
That was the only other one that really kind of stuck out. I like the Cheeto fight better, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. But say they didn't go that route, I do like the Rob Font fight.
If they don't go that route, he'll be fighting like whoever's fucking 13th. Or he's 13th. Whoever's 12th or 11th. I don't know why they're doing it this way, but they're babying him, dude. I don't know where the rankings fell. I only knew he got 13 because he put it out everywhere. And let's see here. So he's 13. Below him are Song Yadong, Cody Stamann, both who would give him trouble.
Yes.
Right above him is a Sun Sao, who would probably give him trouble, but is knockoutable. Frankie.
See, the Sun Sao and Frankie, that doesn't do anything for me. As far as, these are guys on their way out.
Agreed.
And listen, I'm Frankie Edgar, huge fan here. But that does nothing. You're fighting a guy that, yes, is ranked, but is probably 1 or 2 fights away from not being ranked.
Right.
So, no, fight someone else.
So, if you want to finally give Sugar Sean a big fight, he's 13th. Number 10 is Pedro. 9 is Marlon Morris. 8's Cheeto. 7 is Cruz. 6, Merab.
No.
Merab would fucking...
Merab would kill him.
He'd clean his teeth out with the motherfucker's bones. But then it's Font, Sandhagen, Aldo, Dillashaw, Jan. We all know the ceiling for this dude is not that high. It's time to find out. Now, Sugar Sean losing to the top of the division is not going to kill his star. We love Donald Cerrone, who won and lost. Tony is on a 3-fight losing streak. He's got a huge following. It's not the end of the world. So let's do it, man. Let's get him a fucking big fight with Cheeto Vera. All right, moving on. Prelim card was juicy. Dude, the card was the whole card was great.
Whole card was great.
Yeah.
There was no bad fights.
Amen, brother. Amen. The prelim main event was Josh Emmett, Dan Ige.
Great fight.
Great fight. Not a lot to say about it for me, but it was a great fucking fight, and I was not surprised Josh Emmett won.
Right.
I was very happy that he got out of it uninjured because he had the fight of the year last year and tore his ACL. That's devastating. Dan 50K, he's still okay, dude. No one lost in that fight. That was a fucking war. The fight before that's the one I can't believe didn't main event the prelims at least. Pedro Munoz versus Dominic Cruz. So this fight starts, and Pedro looks like he's got the upper hand. I was nervous. I had Cruz by decision in everything, and I was scared. So as the fight progresses, I get even more scared because Cruz is fucking him up. So bad that I thought, is he going to get like a first finish in 9 years or some shit here? Has he ever had a finish? Because he was hitting hard, dude. I think that's the fight, him and Sugar Sean, but he won't do it.
No. That's why I didn't even bring up Dominic Cruz. I already know he won't do it.
I know. He had a big victory, and he wants to fight up. So up for him is the guys we just listed.
Yeah.
It's
Rob Font, any of those guys.
That's the one I want. Sandhagen and Cruz.
I like it.
Sandhagen is like the new and improved version of Dominic's style.
Yeah, there'll be a shit ton of movement.
Great footwork, good striking, but Corey's got the power, and some grappling. I don't think Dominic could beat him. It'll definitely, this blows my mind. That would have to be a 5-rounder in my opinion.
That's got to be a fight night main event.
But the dude's on the prelims. It blows my mind. About Cruz, he came out and apologized after the fight about the DC shit. Now, we didn't like it because it took shine away from the fighters, and we love DC. But if that's the biggest news after your fight, that ain't good, man. Now, he put on a great show, but he won 2-1 against Pedro, and no one's that excited about it. So I think he wants Aldo, who's 2 spots above him. Aldo just had the huge victory against Font, who we don't think much of. The fact that they never fought, I mean, they were in different divisions their whole careers. But, I mean, that could be that'd be awesome, man. That'd be a fight night main event for sure, which favors Cruz. I mean, now, don't forget, Triple C knocked that motherfucker out. But typically, Dom has a pretty good chin. Mm-hmm. I mean, Cody No Love's whole forte 5 years ago was power, and they went the distance. So, I'd like to see Cruz fight Aldo. Not so excited about what's next for Pedro. Love to see him fight, but he's on his way down, and I'd like to see him get a big victory. But Cruz didn't impress me in that last fight against
Casey Kenny.
Yeah,
I was nervous about this.
So that's not a good sign for Pedro because I could see Pedro fighting Casey Kenny.
Yeah,
next.
Pedro versus Marlon Morris is the fight to make.
That is the fight to make.
Both of them guys are
2 spots apart in rankings.
Going out.
Both
of these were guys that, Marlon Morris fought for the title. Pedro Munoz has been right there knocking on the door for a long time. And, I mean, he's just finally on his way down.
Right.
It happens.
Right. So, with the Sugar Sean, Cheeto, Cruz, there's a lot of exciting shit going on in bantamweight. Aldo, I'm so anxious to see what we do. Mm-hmm. Now that we're booking fights 4 months in advance, it's going to be forever, but still excited. Before that was one of the highlights of the night. I think they gave out 8 bonuses.
Yeah, 850K bonuses.
$400,000. And I also heard that the pay-per-view was not going to perform well beforehand. They said Dustin's like the second biggest star in the sport right now, and this thing ain't going to break 400K. I'm very curious to see what it did.
I tried to find numbers today, and I couldn't.
Yeah, they're nowhere.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they always take their time to leak it whenever it's low. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming like 700K, 600K. But this was a big moment. Tai Tuivasa, unranked, at heavyweight, against Augusto Sakai, who's had a couple big main event fights. We talked Jairzinho and Alistair Overeem. Well, Tuivasa knocked him out at the very beginning of the second round, I believe.
First round, wasn't it?
Nope, 26 seconds into round 2.
Round 2, okay.
And it was epic. I mean, people love the guy. He does the shoey thing. Fuck, man. I don't like it because I don't drink, but he pours beer in a shoe and drinks it on the cage, whatever. He's a potential star for the heavyweight division. So it was good to see him get the big victory.
That division needs new life.
Yes. Yeah. Gone and Ngannou is about to happen. And after that, it's like, eh.
Yeah.
Derek's saying this week he's wanting to get back to the title by the end of next year, but he's got the win over. We'll fuck with that another time. Okay. But heavyweight does need a star like Tai Tuivasa, and I think they got one. Jordan Wright, he got knocked out by Bruno Silva. That started the early prelim card. It was a good fight. Couple of nobodies, if you're not a big fan. Jillian Robertson got a submission victory. Tony Kelly, that was one of my favorite fights of the night. Tony Kelly, Randy Costa. I was on his nuts, and he got the knockout. Proud of the guy. Ryan Hall, Derek Minner. This motherfucker went to decision. I did not see that coming, dude.
And won the decision.
He won the decision.
Won.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go for the move or lose.
Yeah.
And he dominated Derek. Now, we did say Derek was an up-and-coming kind of contender series guy, and Ryan Hall should have won. I thought this was a huge upset. Aaron Blanchfield dominated.
Yeah, dominated Miranda Maverick.
Dominated her. Now, you weren't very high on Miranda because of... No, you were.
Yeah,
she got robbed.
Yeah, she got robbed.
She got robbed, and you were saying that was bullshit, and she should be on a win streak. Mm-hmm. This blew my mind.
Yeah.
This blew my mind.
Yeah, now now everything I said about her getting robbed, well, that's fucking irrelevant now.
Right.
Doesn't matter because she didn't get robbed this time.
Who's Aaron Blanchfield? You know what I mean? No offense, but she whooped her ass, man.
Bad.
Andre Muniz submitted Eric Anders in the first round, and that covered UFC 269. Like I said, 8 bonuses. which is awesome. I love that. I love that. Especially when they give extra bonuses on like a Conor McGregor night, you know it's because he's rolling around in cash.
Yeah.
But this was a small pay-per-view, and he gave out a shitload of bonuses, which I thought was so cool. I didn't necessarily disagree or agree with all of them, but I was glad to see so many given out.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, you couldn't give one to every finish because there were a fucking ton of them, but pretty much almost every finish got one. Okay. This weekend. This weekend's the last fight card of the year. There's only a couple fights we're going to touch on because, you know.
Yeah.
So Derek Lewis is fighting Chris Daukaus. I don't like this. Derek Lewis's last fight was a title fight.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck's he fighting Chris Daukaus?
This is a risky fight.
It's
a real risky fight because Chris Daukaus is good.
And on paper, Derek should knock him out in 10 seconds. And I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either.
So Derek's got to not be fucked up in the head from his last fight. I mean, Ciryl Gane. We built it up that Derek was going to knock him out or Ciryl Gane was going to point fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Gane fucked him up and finished him early, second, third round.
Third round.
So Derek needs a big win. He's talking about fighting for the belt again by the end of the year. His best path to that is to knock this dude out. Maybe knock out the loser of Gane and Ngannou, and then you got your shot. He wants to fight Stipe. That's who he wants to fight. What do you think about that?
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah, I like
It'd
that.
Be good.
That's a good person to be calling out.
2 fan favorites for different reasons. One from the deep south and one from Ohio up north. It'd be big. It'd be
yeah,
fun.
that'd be a great fight.
And Stipe, is his chin compromised? We don't know. This dude is the heavyweight GOAT. So, okay. I'm picking Chris Daukaus.
Me too.
Oh.
I'm not going to bet against him.
Oh, poor Derek.
I like Derek. This is, again, just like I said about Kai Kara France and Cody Garbrandt, I wanted Cody Garbrandt to win, but I didn't pick him.
Amen, brother.
I want Derek Lewis to win, but from what he showed against Ciryl Gane, I mean, it's just Derek's that type of guy. Who's the other guy that we always talk about? Njeku.
Yeah.
He loses the whole time until he catches you. And I fear that's what will happen with Derek.
I agree. Co-main is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Ballah Muhammad. All due respect to Ballah, Stephen should
win.
Run through him like a choo-choo. Probably a decision, 3-round fight. Ballah, we know his story, the eye poke with Leon, the drama. This would be a big victory for him.
Yeah, he's coming off that win against Damian Maia. This would be huge for Ballah.
Yes.
From a UFC standpoint, it'd be really big if Ballah won.
They want Ballah to win.
Yeah.
Steven, he's only got 22 pro fights, but he's old in the game. He's 39. 40,
39, 40 years old.
On his way out. My favorite fight on this card is Rafael Assunção versus Ricky Simone because I fucking love Ricky Simone. That's a big fight for Ricky.
That's huge.
Killer Cub Swanson's fighting Darren Elkins. Carlos Diego Ferreira's fighting Massoud Gamrot. And on the prelims, Angie Hill's on the main card. We like her.
Right on.
Prelims got Meerschaert coming off a big submission victory. Justin Tafa, he's only 4-3 as a pro, but he's a good heavyweight prospect. Sajira Eubanks is back fighting the undefeated Melissa Gatto. Charles Jourdain versus Anda Yule. Raquel Pennington versus Macy Chiasson. And Jordan Levitt, that faggy guy that does the ballerina shit after he knocks. He had a vicious knockout in his last victory, and he's fighting Matt Sales. So, hey, it's not a big deal compared to UFC 269, but I'm very excited. We got to go. But Kevin Lee signed with Eagle FC.
I did see that.
Huge. They're creating a
165.
That's going to change the game. 165 is what we've all been hoping for. They're going to do 55, 65, 75, 85, so on and so forth. Huge. If he can get the roster, that's going to be a big deal. Now, Eagle FC is ran by Khabib, so we'll see where that goes. This is it. This is going to be our last show for Christmas. We'll be gone a minimum of 4, 5, 6 weeks. A lot of questions going on with the studio right now and everybody's future. So we are going to continue this one way or another, but it may never look this pretty again. We don't know yet. So ESPN, Fox, anybody want to hire us, you're more than welcome. I know you're watching. If not, it's been real and it's been fun.
It's been great.
But it ain't been real fun. That's all I got.